Oi, buddy. How are you going?
Hello, hello. Hey, how are you, man?
I'm very well, thanks. I'm probably not as sore as I imagined that you would be, sort of given given your current adventure. Tell me a little. Actually, before we start, when I had this event sort of scheduled up, you messaged me saying you were still walking somewhere. So how far have you
Yeah,
been? How far have you been walking today?
today must have been about 25 or a bit more. Sometimes it's
25.
hard to tell, but yeah, I mean, I was walking from Itzehoe to Glückstadt, which is right by the Kieler Canal, and it said to be less than 20, but you can't trust the distances that I see anyway, so it usually takes longer. Like the last 3 to 5 kilometers every day, or seems to be going forever every day. It seems like, yeah.
So how long does that take to walk 25 kilometers?
Um, about 5 hours. I mean,
Wow.
my pace is about 5 kilometers an hour, which is fairly decent. And
Mm.
then if it's slow, or fair, it's 4.5. And then if you really speed it up, like I did really walk fast today because I knew that I had to be on here. So I probably went up to a bit faster than that. So yeah,
Awesome, awesome, man. Look, it's been a while.
yeah,
I'm sure a lot of stuff has happened since we had you on the show last time, which is a couple of months ago. Can you just run us through like what's been happening since the last time? And obviously, like we'll get back to your trip because I wrote down here you've been walking for since the 22nd of June, so you've been walking for about 3 weeks already. But like how did all this happen, and what was sort of like the whole catalyst to just start walking?
yeah. Well, I was in a relationship in from February until May, and I really thought that that was going to be sort of the relationship that was going to be the one that established something, family, whatever. That was when we talked last time. We were living in the same house and so on. And it seemed that in the early part of May, we wanted to live different places, which was probably the best thing to do. But that seemed to be the end of it too. Um, so that was from the 8th of May. I lived somewhere else, and I lived actually very close to the school I was in the 10th grade. But in that area, there was a lot of farms and a lot of, you know, just rural area. And to process that, I just started to walk a lot. Which, I mean, I usually do walk, but I really needed to just process that because it was really difficult, very hard, to realize that this was not going to go any further. So I walked 2 to 3 times a day. In the morning, I took 1 to 2 or 3 hours walk, and then I went back, did some work, did another walk, and then I did that for a month, and I did a lot of personal work in terms of I had two coaches, I guess, or two people who I talked to every week because I was really going through a hard time. It was really difficult for me to understand that this was the end of that relationship. So one day on June 7th, I had a walk out to the ocean, which was about 10 kilometers, and I was going to meet my parents out there. And when I went out to the ocean, there was like this hunch of like inspiration or whatever, which just came to me, and it was very clear. And it's the only thing that has made me smile for a month, and that was why don't I just walk from Denmark to Santiago in Spain, where I've been a couple of times. And then I met my parents, and we had a lunch, and I told them what happened, and it made me smile again, like in a really genuine way. I really felt inspired, and I felt like it made sense to me, and my parents could tell that it meant something. And 2 weeks later, I was on a train to go to Viborg, and started walking.
That's crazy. So you had only 2 weeks of preparation to do this.
I mean, I did a lot of walking up until, so yeah, preparation in the sense of, yes, 2 weeks before I mean, in terms of making the decision, or before I got the idea. But I probably walked 500 kilometers before that, I think, before starting.
Right. So when you're doing these walks by yourself, like I said, if you're walking several times per day, what was sort of going through your mind when you were just, doing, if you've done 500 kilometers, that's a fair amount of walking.
Yeah. I mean, in Denmark, it was really to process my new situation. It was really difficult. I mean, I can still probably shed a tear, because it really meant something to me. I mean, it was really, yeah, it was really special. And I started to really just focus on the present, when I was walking, just being really conscious about where I was, because I knew I've had, for the last 10 years, I've traveled a lot. And even today, I thought about you when you asked me in Australia, when we were in Broome together. You asked me, why did you go to Australia? Why did you go so far away? and that question was an important question, because I knew now that I was sort of running away. I think that was sort of my habit in many cases. Instead of facing things, or as much as maybe I want to, or whatever, I ran away, or and not because that was the only reason why I left, but that has been sort of an ongoing thing. And during the time after that relationship, it seemed that that I really needed to focus on being present with where I am. So when I walked, I was really paying attention to my steps, to the birds, to nature, to things around me, and really practicing being where I am, because I had not been very good at that. So that's basically what I practiced. And I think that at the time when I got the inspiration to do this, I was then in quotes done with the first part of that process, and now I had to decide to do something for me, because I've not been very good at doing things for me, in the sense of not allowing circumstances to sort of pull me, instead of me deciding what I really would like to do, or what makes sense for me. So that is definitely also a part of what I'm doing. This is to create that foundation that maybe I haven't had, or had struggled to have, to just make decisions that seem to, because I think I've always wanted freedom, freedom to be who I am. And because I fought that with my, the religious background that my family has, and being the oldest, always fighting to find my way. So it's been sort of a way to sort of, decide on my own freedom, I guess, or whatever.
But it's like, it's a big decision. Like, it's obviously, you decide that you wanted to walk, or you're happy walking, but you could have walked around in Denmark, or around your neighborhood as you did, but then you decide to just pack up a bag and catch you later. So there's obviously like, how, just so we get the details straight, how long is the total distance between start to finish? Just so people can sort of get an idea of the distance.
Yeah, I think around from Viborg, like the border to Santiago, or to the coast, it must be around 3,200 kilometers, around there. And then with what I did in Denmark, that's about 300. So it must be about 3,500. And so actually the 200K that you see in the picture is probably a bit incorrect. I thought also that it was 200, but it's close to 300 from Viborg, or the middle part of Denmark there, and down. But it's actually the shortest route, the one I'm taking.
Oh,
so on that map.
So you're being a bit lazy, is that what you're saying? But man, like, so again, I'm super keen to sort of hear, like your thoughts behind why you chose this route or this specific walk. Because again, like 3,500 kilometers is it's so unfathomable, I think, for most people to try and have to sort of walk a distance, let alone a tenth of that. If anyone was supposed to, walk very, closer to pretty much have to walk to the shops or walk to their car, a lot of people sort of give up. Again, you're walking literally through, I don't know how many countries there. So what was your thoughts behind that? Like to say, this is my path. This is my trip.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm really trying to still understand what I'm doing, really. I mean, the direction itself was pretty clear in the sense that, yes, Santiago is definitely the destination if I'm walking that far. Because that is just a special place to end. And when you get to the coast, it's even more special because it's called the end of the world. So when you go there, you could literally not go any further. And there is a 0.0 kilometer marker that shows that you can't go further now. And that's the most beautiful thing, because it's really important that a beautiful journey can end. It should end sometime. And I think the reason for the journey before that, I think it's just, I don't know, it just seemed to make sense that why not go through some of Germany, cross through Belgium. I haven't been there. And then, the first big halfway is Paris. I mean, how cool isn't it to walk into Paris? And so I think it's definitely part of just adventurous spirit, along with that the final destination is pretty much set in stone. But I mean, I started the walk without having to finish, and I still feel that I'm free to stop whenever I want, because I'm walking to really, and that's why I'm calling it sort of walking. I'm walking towards a new life, because that's really what I'm doing. I really feel like there's so much I would like to give to the world or to myself, and it's been difficult to know what that really is after that relationship stopped. So I think I just needed to do something that was bigger than I have done it, but with a bit of better intention, which is not running away, but it's really walking towards something better, something good, something that has meaning or whatever. So
what is it you're hoping to find? Obviously, if you're saying you're sort of walking towards a new life, have you got anything you're hoping to find on the other side, or is it just sort of embrace the unknown?
Yeah, I'm practicing that, embracing the unknown, trying to surrender to whatever has to happen. Because the last many years I've tried to so many things, as you know, and a lot of it has been has fallen, maybe not fallen short, but the quick accomplishment has come fast too. With either DJing, being on stage, playing for thousands of people or 1,000 people, and writing a book and publishing that. And there's been many things where I kind of very quickly I did something worth some kind of that was significant. But it seemed the motivation to keep going was just stopped too. And I know that I've tried to find whatever it is on the outside of myself, all the time. And that's why this journey is also important, because it's so long that I really need to establish the things that that I really would like to, the human being that I would like to be, because I've kept trying to look for it in people and places and things. And it's not because all of that has been bad, because it's been amazing experiences, but there's just a part of me that sort of, that lacks some kind of ground, some foundation, a clear path of what my life actually is about. And that's also why I'm trying to just surrender to whatever that is, really just care less about what's going to happen, but do it because there's something burning inside of me that kind of needs to do this for whatever reason.
Something that needs to see the end of the world and get to that 0.0 marker.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about that, I know kind of how I will feel, because it's been so special the 2 times I've been there, walking through Spain and Portugal. And even though it's only been 30 or 40 days, I know that being able to, if I really am able to go all the way down there and everything is, staying healthy and all that stuff, regardless of anything else, I just know that will mean something big, something that has a significance of whatever it might be. So
for sure. I'd love to still go back to sort of when you started, because when you said you had 2 weeks of preparation, like this is a long walk. There's a lot of logistics that needs to be sorted. Like you need, because you're obviously carrying your gear. You need to find places. I'm guessing here, but you probably need to find places to sleep. You need to have some destinations to reach every day, or at least have a good idea of sort of where to end up. So how did all that come about?
Yeah. So, I mean, I had most of the equipment, and I have a lot of experience in terms of what I need. But of course, this is a longer walk. So, I mean, I had my backpack. I had, you really don't need a lot. Obviously, I have 1 pair of pants. That's it. I have 1 pair of shorts, and I have a handful of t-shirts and shirts, and a sleeping bag, a tent whenever that's needed, and then some toiletries and so on. So the only thing I bought of new was a pair of pants and power bank for my phone and a few items there. So I had most of the things, and I also knew that in Denmark it would be fairly easy to sleep, because the Hervejen, which goes all the way through Jutland, that has small Pilgrim hostels, which only charges what is that, $20 or something, or $15, not a lot. So I knew that in Denmark it would be fairly easy to sleep, but I didn't know how it would be like in Germany. And before, when was that? I tried to write a few places. Yeah, I was on a Facebook page that had to do with the Camino. I think all the Caminos are people walking, and I wrote out if somebody knew about the German Pilgerweg, because there's many ways in Germany, and it's well marked. So I definitely knew that it was well marked, so it wouldn't be a problem with at least the direction. But I didn't know where really I would sleep. So I got a list in Viborg, I think it was. I got a list sent from someone with a list of places to stay in each town that I was, in terms of the direction that I was heading. But as I experienced in the first town, which was called Oversee or Oversee or something, the first town in Germany, the 2 hotels the first hotel I had no idea of the Camino or whatever. And in Spain, you know that when you rock up somewhere that they host you, and you get a stamp in your passport, your Pilgrim passport, and you get a cheap bed and all that stuff. But in Germany, no, that's not how it is. It's just it's the same prices kind of. And so I mean, right now I'm in a youth hostel, so that's that kind of stuff from Australia, kind of a bunk beds and whatnot. So it's a kind of a mix of, but yeah, I have to sort of look in advance of what's ahead in terms of where I can stay, if it's tent or if the weather is even good enough to stay out and so on. Because even though I'm adventurous, I'm not going to put up a tent in the bloody rain, because everything's going to get wet and then I can't work and do anything. So
Yeah, we watched the little intro video of you of you getting pretty swamped in the rain there. How was that?
Yeah, it's been the first. Was it from the first time in the first day in Germany? Yeah, and I think a few days before and a handful of days after, it rained every day, and it's just not fun to walk in the rain.
So what goes through your mind then? So when you get out there, when you know it's pissing down and you got to put on the raincoat, you got to protect all your gear, and you just got to plow along. Because obviously that would take some grit or some mental strength of some sort, knowing I just got to do it. You got to put in another 5 hours in the rain.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of walking. To be honest, it's that you're not going to sleep where you are if it's raining, because it's cold and it's not comfortable. Obviously, I mean, unless you have a really nice tent. So you really have to stay present with yourself and just say, I gotta keep moving. I mean, there's no one is holding your hand or whatever. You really just need to just suck it up and walk. And that practice of just taking responsibility for that, you chose this. You chose to be here.
Oh yes,
you chose to do this. And it's fucking raining, and the life sucks. And I would rather like have a spa by a naked woman or something. It's not possible at all. You can also really feel like you're really looking like a fool. I mean, why the hell would you do something like this to yourself, right? But again, walking is such a beautiful thing because you cannot rush things. If you do it for too long, your legs will just crash. You just can't speed walk for 25 kilometers. I mean, unless you're really trained, and it just makes you have to stay present. You have to stay with where you are, and I think that's both what I need, but it's also the beauty of walking, and you just have to find your way. I mean, it forces you to think. It forces you to just be present and make decisions and build some mental strength and all that good stuff. So,
in regards, but I said with regard to sort of mental strength and pushing through, have you had some days where you didn't know where you were going to end up? You didn't know where you were going to sleep?
Yeah.
How do you cope with that? Because I think a lot of people, I was about to say, like, people in general usually like to be sort of fairly organized, especially when it comes to ending up somewhere where you've got to have a shower and a warm bed.
Yeah. I think I actually am fairly comfortable with that thought, because of all the traveling I've done. So there's been so many times where I've been in that situation, and I know that in a town it's always possible. So at the end of the day, I mean, if it really sucks, a hotel usually is an option. And if I have to walk 5 or 10 kilometers more, I mean, it's not the end of the world. But it is definitely every day that kind of almost like every day it's like, yeah, where am I sleeping? The next day or whatever. And but what is so beautiful about that is that you trust that things will work out, like we've talked about many times. And then I thought about this today. It's like every day I'm experiencing gratitude of actually being able to take a shower when I arrive. Every day I'm satisfied with that I can actually be inside, or that there are, that is an option, and maybe I can go out and get something to eat. And it's becoming more and more satisfying to understand how to appreciate things. Because it's really also because I know that in Spain, on the Camino in Spain, it's very easy, because you have everybody. There are so many who have walked there, so it's very easy to find accommodation. There is no real problem. Here, I really have to stay alert to weather and to, it's a bit more challenging. But it's just here recently, the last couple of days, I've really started to appreciate, really to start to understand. Wow, every day I'm experiencing gratitude for being able to take a shower when I can, or when somebody, like yesterday, let me in their house through couch surfing, actually. And I was able to get a meal and wash my clothing and that good stuff, and it makes you appreciate things, the very simple stuff,
Yeah. Tell us about that experience and how you found them, because obviously, like, couchsurfing is for people that don't know, it's a community where you can offer someone, like a stranger, an approved stranger, to come and stay with you generally for free. So you're saying so you found them and you stay there. Tell us a bit about that.
I started to think about that would be a good option, actually, couchsurfing, both in terms of cost, but also because of I'd forgotten about that as an option. But of course, that is a good option. And yesterday I was actually supposed to walk further than Itzehoe. I was supposed to go to somewhere a bit more south, 5 to 7 kilometers further. And I actually had a bed there, a place to stay. But then Michael wrote me, a German guy, who was in Itzehoe. So that meant that I could save 5 or 7 kilometers, or however long that was going to be. Very nice. I rocked up and, just got the room, and we took a dip in a lake a couple of hours later, and had a spaghetti and had a talk about traveling, and
So what did he think of your adventure?
What did he think? He asked me a lot of direct questions.
Like what?
Which was very, he was just very, very direct in terms of why I'm doing this and that, or also just general things about who Danes and Americans, and we talked about a lot of different things. But I think his son said that it was going to be boring for me to rock up anywhere because I'm going to say the same thing every day. I don't know what he asked, to be honest, but it was kind of the same thing, I guess, why I'm walking, and so.
And what was your answer?
Just the same, walking towards something new. And see what happens. That's I think that's sort of my only answer, really.
So another question I just thought of, when you were sort of talking about couch surfing and saying that you saved a bit of money because you could stay on that couch. How have you how are you funding this? Because I'm assuming if you have to sort of stay at hostels, and you got to eat every day, and all that. Have you got a budget, or?
I'm trying to have a budget, but I am working while I walk. So I'm working from my computer, and I can make a living even though I walk. So it's actually not so hard. In sense, financially, it's not that I have nothing coming in. So I have.
Oh, that's good.
I have a couple of gigs, so I have income. So fairly easy in that sense. But I do try to not stay in expensive places every day, and I definitely hope that the weather will be stay more stable, so I can use my tent more.
It is European summer, so which is kind of like the same as the Australian winter here. We've got about 18 degrees, and it's sort of raining on and off. I keep joking and telling people it's the same as summer back home. So, but
no, I hope it's going to get better. Yeah.
So you've been doing this since you started on the 22nd of June, and we now have the 13th of July. Mm-hmm. If you go all the way,
yes,
how long do you estimate that would take?
It's a good question. It will probably take close to 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I mean, the 800 kilometers in Spain took about 35 days, and times 4 plus something. So it will probably be about 5 months. And I know that I'll take a day off here and there, maybe once or twice a month, to either see stuff or just to do nothing. So yeah, it will take a bit of time. And I can also add that, like, the first 2 weeks, until the July 4th, I had an off day where I was greeted by our family friend Christian, who surprised me. He lives in Bangladesh, and I was supposed to stay at his sister's house, and then he was there. So awesome. That was great. And I know that the first 2 weeks I had an off day because it rained like all day. But up until then, it's the early phase, right? So you constantly ask yourself why you're doing this, because it's kind of early on, and it's still early. I mean, I still think that I have another 2 weeks to go before I really feel like, okay, this is my life 100%, even though I'm pretty much there. So the first 2 weeks definitely were kind of questioning myself. Why am I doing this? And being sort of a bit unsettled about why, and yeah, just still processing stuff from back home, I guess. But after I left, and the couple of days after, I felt like, okay, I'm doing this. This is my life now,
Well, you're building up a bit of a following online. I can see like your videos starting to get more and more views, and there's more people sort of commenting and following along on your both your YouTube and Facebook. I don't check into Instagram that often, but I'm assuming it will probably be the same there as well. Does that not give you a little bit of extra sort of boost to sort of like just keep going?
Yes. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I realize that I'm inspiring myself to start off with. I mean, I feel there's a fire inside of me that's doing this for reasons that are good, positive, with hope, with love, with the things that I really strive for or would really like to experience more of in my life. And I also see that that people are inspired by something like this. And we both listen to Joe Rogan's podcast a lot, and I've listened to many of his, and he has so many people who have built up a brand or built up their life around something that they love to do, whether it's bow hunting or weightlifting, or it doesn't matter almost what it is. It's just they have built a life around what they love. And I think I just would like to be that guy that builds a life up around what he loves to do, and is free within that. And that's not only walking, I think, but it's part of it, the journey of life, the adventure in life, and being able to help people and inspire people through that, through those experiences. Because I know that, I mean, walking is such a metaphorical way for life. It's such a beautiful thing, and I think you can only really appreciate it when you've done it. But it's just, you walk out there and you can't see nothing. You can only see 500 meters or a kilometer away, and then you can't see it any further. You don't know what's around the corner. You meet people every day. You say goodbye and hello every day. Here we say moin, right? The Schleswig-Holstein, moin moin. But my point is that every day is changing, right? I mean, I'm waking up every day. There is a new day, literally a new day, where I'm walking towards something new, a new place, new people, new something new, and it is an adventure. And every time I rock up, the day ends too. But so I'm kind of practicing the journey of life by understanding that it changes all the time, but that it also is an adventure every day, And I think I just really like that idea and like that thought, and to practice that, so that when this is done, or when I feel that this is sort of, I've gotten out of this what I wanted to, or what is enough or whatever, I then later in life can just have that as a foundation for, okay, I sort of understand how to live now, or I have experiences that I can back up, the way I want to live or the way I see life or something. Yeah.
Well, I think the really admirable part about it is the fact that, you know, you're okay with not necessarily finishing it. So you're okay with, you know, I might do it, but I might not, and that's fine. All I'm doing right now is just important to just keep going.
Yeah.
Yes. And again, and even more probably admirable, the fact that sometimes you don't know where you're going to end up on that given day. So you just, like, you open yourself up to whatever is going to happen, and whatever is going to happen is going to be okay. Yeah. And that, I think that would scare the vast majority of people in the beginning, because people like security. People like, you know, the mobile phones and their Facebook, and, you know, having people around the corner, and probably not the fact that they are walking somewhere in a, in a crazy country and just have no idea where they're headed. So that itself, like I said, I'll take my beanie off for that. It's like, it's super admirable. And yeah, I can see why a lot of people are inspired by it, or sort of like I can see why you're getting a more and more traction by people following you, because it is something that a lot of people like to watch, but they would never have the courage to do themselves.
Yeah.
But in regards to sort of the logistics of it, obviously, like, you're walking nearly half a marathon, or sometimes more, I'm guessing, per day. So you need to sort of replenish like a lot of calories. But like, how does a day work in terms of what you eat and what you drink?
Yeah. So like a standard day, obviously wake up, I pack my bag, and then I try to plan so that I have for breakfast. So that's, you know, a few pieces of fruit, some nuts, something that just gets me started. I could definitely plan a bit better in terms of buying something where I could just bread with stuff on it or whatever. So I need to get better at that. But I definitely have things so that I have a morning or a breakfast or whatever. And then I walk, and I should probably take more breaks, but I just tend to go. So every day is about 5 to 8 hours of walking, and then I take breaks in between there.
For a lot of people, that's a whole day at work. Like, that is crazy, man. Yeah,
it's definitely a lifestyle, I guess, and it becomes what you do. I mean, it's sort of. But it's just beautiful every day. I mean, it just has its beauty. You know, it's tough every day, and even though you walk maybe 5 hours, it still feels tough. I mean, it's challenging every single day, but the body just seems to be able to recover. You know, I mean, of course, I need to eat and so on, but I could probably eat more. I think actually, I think I could eat more. Standard day, wake up, breakfast or eat along the way, and then I walk and maybe take a break every 1 or 2 hours for a little bit, if I feel like it, if I feel it's needed. And then during the afternoon, depending on, like today, I called to just make sure that they had a bed or that I could stay here. Then I rock up, and I do video throughout the day. So I try to document as much as I can, just so that people can get an idea of where I'm walking from and what I'm thinking or what's happening. And then when I rock up and I'm sort of settled, I do my regular work that I need to do, and I edit the video and post it, and then I'm done. I mean, so every day is very, very it's kind of the same. I mean, like that many days are, and if you have 9 to 5 job or something. So the only thing that's different is that I'm moving to a new place every day.
Slightly different.
By foot, just a little bit different, yeah. But it has a rhythm, it has a kind of a rhythm in terms of how it's and it's important. So it makes it easier, I guess.
So how many hours roughly? How many hours sleep do you get per night, or have you got like a minimum that you'd like to get? Because again, I'm assuming it'd be a little bit taxing on the body, just a little bit.
Yeah, but sometimes it actually, like last night I slept, I think it's between 6 and 7 hours. You would think that I would sleep a lot more, but I also feel in really good shape, and I mean I feel pretty energetic in some sense. The first days in Denmark, I actually slept. I didn't sleep at all. I slept a very, very few hours, and I don't know if it was just because I just started or the energy was up. I was, things were happening in my mind or whatever. But twice I slept outside in Denmark in shelters, and it was sort of cold and moisty, so I didn't sleep really. But it hasn't not seemed to affect me in terms of my energy level when I'm walking. So, yeah, I think about 6.5, 7 hours a night.
I suppose that is enough again as well, especially if you eat well, and I was about to say you exercise, but you certainly, if you exercise for like 5 to 8 hours per day, that's more than most people, including me, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, initially, and I definitely need to get better at that, is to get started early and finish early, because it's really nice to rock up the new place at 1:00 or something and then be done and know that, okay, I can relax now. And then you have almost like you have a day and a half or like, 18 hours to recover. And that makes a difference when you walk. So every day.
So what are the road conditions like? Because I'm assuming obviously you can't walk on the freeway or the autobahn. So you would have to what kind of roads or paths do you need to stick to?
Yeah. So I don't know if I send you or have a picture of the shell or the whatever, but on the picture of the map or whatever.
Yep.
There's the little shell thing, and here in Germany it's called the Pilgrim, and it has that symbol of the shell of a seashell. And the reason for that is that back in the day when they literally walked to the end of the world. They thought they would fall off, and then as a proof that they walked or had finished or had been out there, they took a shell back to prove that they were at the end of the world or at the beach or at whatever. So that's sort of where it comes from. So you're actually not supposed to have a shell while you walk, but now it's a symbol of walking towards Santiago that you have this shell. So, but the yellow shell is a symbol of the way. So like all the red and the blue ways that you see on the map has the symbol on them. So it's all many poles and whatnot. So you can't really miss it unless you look at your phone a lot, which I do, and then you miss markers and you walk too far, and that sucks. You walk both on concrete. Like the last few days, it's been a lot of forest and really nice in between forest and fields. And even though it's been concrete, it's been very nice to walk there because it's just flat. Other times it's, kind of rugged or stony gravel roads, and in Denmark was a lot of gravel roads because it was the Helhammer. So like the whole story from actually Denmark to where I am now, or just left, they used that road for cattle. So the farmers they walk down all their cattle to sell in Germany, and that's why it's called the Oxenweg, which is like the way up the ox or whatever, however you want to. So there are symbols and maps and so on, and that's why a lot of the way is gravel and stony and so on, because it was used for cattle back in the day. So it's kind of still the same roads you walk on. So yeah, all kinds, from concrete to asphalt to weird black rocky stone stuff, and forest and yeah. So you see it all.
And was this something you had looked into sort of prior to leaving? Because I'm guessing here, but like, wouldn't different terrain sort of, maybe you need some different shoes or different soles or something? Oh, that doesn't matter.
It's definitely harder to walk on concrete because there's not as much give, and if it's really hot, it can get really warm. So I mean, that can have an effect on the warmth through the shoe. But so far here, it's not been that warm that made a difference, I think. But it makes a big difference when you go from concrete and walk on gravel. I mean, gravel roads is the preferable, what do you say, under ground to walk on. Because it just gives you a bit of cushion and it's sort of softer. So, but you don't really need different shoes as long as your shoes are good enough. So
how many pairs of shoes have you got? Like, because I'm guessing, I'm guessing like obviously you can't have too much gear because you still have to carry it. Actually, can you just run us through what actually is in your backpack? You mentioned you had a handful of shirts, a pair of shorts, a pair of jeans, a laptop.
Yes. So I have a tent. That's the biggest item I have, which a lot of the time I want to throw away because it weighs almost 2 kilos or 1.5 kilos, maybe a bit more. Then I have a sleeping bag. I have a cover for the sleeping bag, like a linen. You know, if you sleep somewhere, it's to have it over your sleeping bag. And then then I have my clothing, like 3 pairs of socks. I have a few pairs of underwear, handful of shirts and t-shirts, pair of shorts, 2 pairs of shorts because my pants can be zipped off on the ones I'm used for walking. Then I have a poncho. I have a very lightweight jacket, kind of that just takes the wind, kind of a running thing. And then I have a shampoo, and I have my water bottle, and a box for extra food if I make something or whatever. And then I have my toiletries. I have some deep freeze stuff. I could have showed you here. I don't have it with me, but some deep freeze stuff, which is really good for sore muscles. It sort of cools down the muscles, and it really makes a difference for when you have sore stuff going on. For everybody who is listening, the best item that I have, or most important item, is tea tree oil. Tea tree oil is the best product that I know of when it comes to your body or whatever. And if you have any blisters or cut to the skin or whatever, maybe not big wounds, but if you have any cut to the skin or blisters, when you puncture the blister, for example, you want all the fluid out because you want the tissue or the sort of
the skin.
What do you say? But you want you want all the fluid out so that the skin doesn't sound so nice, but you want the skin to be a cushion so that it doesn't hurt so much anymore. So the tea tree oil is a sort of an organic antiseptic, which goes in and cleans it, and then it dries it up really fast within a day or two. So that means if you have a really bad blisters, you can fix yourself very fast. And I use it all the time if I have a cut or a blister or something, because it works really, really well. So that's probably the most important item, really. And then toilet stuff.
And then you have shoes. And then you have your shoes. Tell us about your shoes, man.
I have them here.
So you only have one pair.
I have one pair with me, so I know that I'll probably have to buy a new pair at some point. Actually, I bought the wrong ones.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Yes. So I've had these shoes since my walk in Spain. That's the only type of shoe I have had since then, because they're just perfect for me. But the ones I have here is without Gore-Tex, which is the fabric or the material that they use so that it keeps water out. And when I went into the usual store in Denmark that I buy my shoes, they didn't have the ones I usually have in my size. So then I looked up on the internet to find the same shoe. I ordered the shoe, and the first day it really poured down here. My shoes got crazy wet, and I had no idea why. It never happened before. And then it happened again. As you saw in the video, that was the second time it really poured down. And I couldn't understand why my socks and my feet all like got totally soaked within the first 5 minutes when it poured down. I really didn't get it because it never happened before. Because usually I have Gore-Tex, right? So that keeps the water. The shoe, the reason why I like this shoe is because all the moist or the sweat or the heat from the feet can go through the top of the shoe.
Yep.
And then the Gore-Tex can keep the water out, which is really nice because then you don't get so many blisters because you keep your feet fairly dry when you have your smart wool socks on.
Yeah.
And then the Gore-Tex keeps the water out so you don't get wet feet, and because that really sucks. But I didn't get them with Gore-Tex, I guess. I just got the shoes, and I thought that was what I ordered, and I didn't really pay attention, I guess. So I know I'll get my feet really wet when it's pouring down. But so that's why I'm hoping that it will be more stable to the weather.
Well, I suppose you can. By the time you change these ones over, you should be able to get them somewhere in Europe.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah,
I'm curious to sort of hear how the whole COVID situation has that affected any way you've been.
In terms of places to stay. No. And in Germany, in the store, everybody has their mask on. But it doesn't seem to. I was surprised because I crossed the border into Germany without even knowing it, because I thought I was going to go through some kind of control or whatever, but they had opened up Denmark again, or Europe, so I was surprised. I didn't realize that, but I just thought, okay, there's probably going to be control there. But I haven't really. I mean, of course it's there. I mean, here, they take their precautions and whatever, and it's how it is everywhere. Which is kind of, it's in some ways the situation that I'm in terms of this whole idea is that I feel I'm walking in reality. Say, like, I'm walking, I'm free, I'm me. There's nature. It seems very pure and organic, and then you come into the cities, and there's just something wrong. Like, what's wrong here? Like, there's this strange thing happening in the world now, and it just seems very odd. That you can walk out there, it's all good, free, nature, good day, and now I'm in happy town. Glückstadt, and everything is happy until you go into the town and you realize that something is going on and it's weird,
So what is it like? Try and explain the feeling you get when you walk into these towns.
Yeah, it just really seems unreal. It seems like something is happening that is not supposed to happen. Like it's really, it seems unreal. It really, I think that's the word I can use.
But what's the situation like in like the current situation in Germany? What are the stats? What are the numbers?
Oh, I don't know. Michael told me yesterday that they are very. I think that the positive cases are very low.
Okay.
I think he talked about 300 positives a day or something.
Well, I suppose Germany is a pretty large country, but 300. Yeah, it's so crazy because obviously, like where we are here is quite different to the rest of the world because we are so isolated here in Western Australia. But I think the main thing and the reason why I'm asking is because there's no community spread cases in Perth or in Western Australia, but you hear about that pretty much everywhere else in the world. and Germany being big. And if you're saying they've opened up the borders and stuff, it's to me that sounds a little bit sort of like, it makes me feel a little bit uneasy. You know, the fact that, you know, there's people out there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, people definitely are mentioning it, you know. But I also feel like I'm not hurting anyone, and I'm not close to anybody, and
oh, of course, you'll be fine. Yeah. Like doing what you're doing, sort of just, you know, walking by yourself along the oxes, and
yeah,
and the deer. So I saw you had a fun video when, you know, there's a deer.
Yeah, there's the deer.
Good. Yeah.
I've seen way more animals than I've seen people, I think. Wild animals.
Well, isn't that lovely?
Definitely than pilgrims.
Like, yeah. That's fantastic.
So, yeah, but I've only seen the 3 pilgrims so far since I went into Germany. Yeah.
And what sort of defines a pilgrim? Like, if you're saying you haven't seen many of them, like what do the pilgrims do? Except for obviously wanting to pick up the shells.
Yeah, they walk far. They walk somewhere. What defines a pilgrim?
Yeah, so like, because I'm guessing not many other people out there would sort of be on the same path as yourself.
Yeah.
So what are they doing different to you?
I mean, the 3 I've met just take shorter trips. The first one I met was also from Denmark, but she took from Slesvig. You can go east to Kiel, and so that's a different route, but it's also shorter. But I mean, it depends on whatever. I see a lot of people on bikes, so I've seen a lot of those. And I've seen a couple. I met them a few times along the trail, and they were from Hamburg, and they walked from Flensburg, I think, and they're going to end here. I think they said here in Glückstadt. But I don't think I will meet many at all. I think maybe I will meet. There's chances I'll meet a few more when I go into Belgium or France, because I do think that more people can definitely see themselves walk to Paris from their hometown in Belgium or Holland or something, because it's more manageable. It's kind of closer. But I'm pretty sure, almost guaranteed, that I'll definitely see more pilgrims from Paris, because Paris is definitely a manageable. I mean, it's long, but from Paris to Santiago is definitely manageable. So I think I'll see more pilgrims from Paris.
Well, that sounds to me like you've set your mind on that already.
Paris is definitely. I mean, I say when I end up there, I will finish. That I'm pretty sure. Then I'm like, okay, I got Paris down, because it's a big deal. It's like halfway. So I think that crossing into Paris, huge city, and I know I'll stay there for maybe 5 days or something to just chill and see Normandy or whatever, and try pastry and some baguettes and stuff.
Get some calories to sort of stock up for the next trip.
Yeah.
So how many days, or how many months, I suppose I should say, are you away from Paris?
I will probably enter Paris in the end of August.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So the end of August, Paris, and then I think I'm not 100% sure. I think there's about 1,400 left. But it could be a bit more. 1,400 left.
1,400 sounds like a lot less than 3,500. So. Yeah. So, but I have to calculate that, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, it'll take the time it takes. But it's straight down. So the good thing about that is that right now I've gone more west. Yep.
But from Paris, it's basically, just straight down to Bordeaux, and then to the French Camino, or to the Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, which is sort of the hub for where people start the Camino. And I can say, actually, that I can confirm that pilgrims are coming in every day to Santiago. So in the pilgrim's office, there's hundreds of people coming in every day right now. So
right.
So it's a good sign. Yeah.
And so now that you are sort of, what are you, about 20% into it, you are you're documenting your trip quite a bit. So you're posting. How often are you posting your videos? Is that daily?
Yeah, I try to do a daily video.
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of rough edited. I'm just trying to journey of the day, and trying to finish with the stamp. I'm trying to show you. So that's the one for the day.
Nice.
And that's sort of the official pilgrim passport from the cathedral in Santiago. So this is actually 2 because
wow,
I need a lot of stamps, and I think I have to buy 2 more of these to put on to have enough.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's, but it's, I mean, Michael that I was with yesterday, he asked me, why do you want to take or have these stamps? Why is that important to you? I mean, first of all, it's something to do every day. That this is the goal. The goal is to get this stamp for the day. It's sort of like a proof I was here,
Yeah.
But it's also a memory. I mean, it's a memory. Like, this is going to be a memory Bible kind of thing. I can look back on this and say I walked for fucking long, and I think that's, yeah, I think this is part of being a pilgrim, is just to sort of, you're proving where you were and you're documenting where you were, and it's also actually can be important. I mean, in Santiago, they can see where you have been, so they can actually verify. Because I mean, usually you should have your stamp from churches, or I just do some hotels because some churches are not open or whatever. So
right, okay, so you don't need to go to a specific spot to get a stamp, or you just need to be in that city, or how does it work?
Yeah, I mean, that's at least how I do it right now. I mean, in Spain or on the regular Camino, you get the stamps at the pilgrim hostels. So there are specific pilgrim hostels where pilgrims go. So it's only for pilgrims, and then you get the stamp there. And in Santiago, they know who those are. So, but that's also why I went to Viborg, which is the top one here, because that is a cathedral. Because back in the day, it was a very religious trip or whatever. So churches is sort of is basically on the way that has been marked. So that's also why that the other day, 2 days ago, I slept in a priest's home, because it's part of being a pilgrim back in the day, was that churches helps pilgrims because it was a religious voyage. So it's part of the Camino that you can actually call many churches and say that I'm here and I would like a bit. And I don't know if they have to take you in, but I think it's sort of a custom that they should take you in because it's a part of the history. So
yeah.
Well, that's interesting because sort of based on the last chat we had a couple of months ago, obviously your relationship with religion is it's a little bit skewed. So without sort of necessarily getting into too many details now, because I think it's probably better for people to maybe catch up on the last episode, which was amazing, by the way. We'd like to hear about all your travels for the last 10 years. But in regards to sort of like you obviously don't, from sort of based on the last chat, I don't think you sort of identify yourself as, as religious. But now you have to sort of have this pilgrim label and sleep in a priest's shelter. Like how does that feel?
I feel like that's part of my new self. I think that because I know that I got a lot of feedback from my former relationship in terms of my personality and all those things, and I really took some of those serious. And one of them was I've been used to fighting for my way in life, because yes, my parents come from very religious families. My parents had a mentality that was maybe a bit conformed as I was growing up, and I was definitely not into conformed way of thinking. So I had to fight for everything. I had to fight to do things that they were not accustomed to think about. Or, I was part of a best-selling book that I wrote a chapter in many years ago. And that was sort of the first time I really invested money or something into sharing something that meant something to me. And my dad couldn't understand that. He got upset with me, actually, And so with that and many other things, I've sort of had to fight my way to sort of get my way. And that also means that I was also always against authority, which came from maybe my parents at first, then teachers, and then employers, and then maybe the system itself and all that stuff. So I've been used to fighting for my way. And that has been, what was your initial question?
I was like, in regards to your your relationship with religion, and now now you're sort of staying with priests, and so it's a pilgrimage, which is associated with churches and all that.
Yeah. So I have realized that it has been an internal fight to fight for the sake of fighting. It's been sort of a habit, and the last couple of months has really made a big change in terms of just stopping that fight. Stopping that fight. Don't go against things. And it doesn't mean that you should agree with everything, but it doesn't help anything to fight it, I found. So, but it's been a habit to fight against authority or, ideas that I didn't agree with or whatever. And it's much easier to just accept that people think differently. and do your best and just accept that things that people think differently. And maybe I'm not religious in that sense, but I can have a conversation with a priest. I mean, we can all be together and we can all talk together, even though we are not thinking alike or doing the same things. So I've tried to just let go of the fight, and it has helped me a lot. So I'm actually not thinking too much about that. Yeah.
So sort of like when you're out there sort of walking and stuff, is this something that is sort of still in the back of your mind? So, the whole upbringing and all this fighting or internal struggle, having to sort of prove yourself, wanting to do something, literally like walking a different path in life.
Yeah. I mean, it will always be with me, I think, it will always be with me as how I was brought up and so on. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm thinking about it in the sense of, I know it's been a part of my life, and I don't think I've sort of passed the stage of having to fight it or, defend it or, all those things.
Yeah.
At least enough to walk towards something new. That's better and more me. And yeah, I mean, walking is a meditative thing too. It's sort of, you can get sort of in a trance-like state when you walk, when you get into a really good rhythm, and it's just kind of like a runner's high, I guess, in some sense, where you can really get into a nice rhythm and you're just there, really in the present moment, just step at a time, and you're just going out there. And when you feel strong, it's really amazing. It's really amazing to just really be present and just feel yourself, just go out there, and you're in nature every day outside, and there's so much beauty in it. And I think that's why it's interesting and fun to do every day, I guess. It's so cool, man. when you're walking out there, do you just walk sort of in your own head, or do you listen to music or podcasts, or do you just enjoy your surroundings? Most of the time, actually, I do it without anything in my ears, because I don't even know why. It just seems to be how I walk, I guess. Sometimes at the end of the day, I put in Eddie Vedder with from Into the Wild soundtrack, which is from a movie Into the Wild, if people know that, with an adventurous guy. And yeah, I listen to some music once in a while, and if I just really need to, just let's listen to some beats and so on. But and then maybe a podcast or an audiobook. But it's actually not been that much. It's probably 10 or 20% of the time, I think. It's not that much.
Wow, so, I'm super fascinated by the fact that you're just doing this, and especially the fact that, as I said earlier as well, that you just sort of taking one day at a time, and you didn't do too much prep and stuff. That is, yeah, it's super admirable, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I it's not easy. Right now I could cry because because there's so many. You process your life every day. It's like. And at the same time, you're alone. I think you want to share a lot of things with someone, and there's not many to share it with. And then you can ask yourself, why are you doing this? And it's because that I'm really doing it for me. My youngest brother, he said in the day before I left, that if you really feel like you are, because I've been very I've sort of been a person that really got easily attached to things or people or something. And he said something that I have thought about since, which was, you really need to be able to stand by yourself, totally alone, and be okay standing by yourself in your life. And I have not been able to do that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. To just really feel that I can, that I don't have to be codependent on anybody. I can actually live and be self-sufficient, and I can be there with my thoughts and emotions and myself and my character, and I really appreciate that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this, maybe the main reason, to just really feel that, yes, I can do this. I can be self-sufficient. I can be confident and do this, and inspire myself doing it, and perhaps maybe it will do some good to others, and that's perhaps the fire I feel inside, that I'm doing it for something that's kind of selfish, maybe very selfish, but something that I know is selfish for a positive reason, because I know that when that's sort of said and done or has manifested, then watch out, world, because here if I can come, So yeah.
Well, when I hear stories like that, which again super powerful, I'll get back to your brother after, but as soon as I hear something like this, I always think about, when you sit in an airplane and you're about to take off, and they tell you, in the unlikely event of an emergency, you got to look after yourself first before you look after others. And that's something that, again, when you actually think about it, is super important. It's something I think about a lot as a parent as well. So I have to be okay for my kids and my family. So yeah, it's like what your brother said is, it's super important. Have you spoken to him since, or what is his feedback on your journey so far?
No, I think him and my family, I mean, they're they think they like it, and my two brothers will probably come walking with me actually in a couple of weeks.
Wow, fantastic.
Or a week and a half. What is it? 14 days? Yeah, 2 weeks. So yes, I mean they're always supportive. It's just been sort of weird to. Yeah, I've been fighting my whole life. I've been it's been too easy for me to live with my parents when I was growing up. They didn't really tell me, you can figure this out. Just go do it. They help me too much at times. So I also know that that's been part of, really at one point getting to me now, like, okay, this is it. This is. I mean, I had to just freaking. And that's also why a lot of the feedback and that relationship was so difficult to see end, because I really started to take that feedback or take myself seriously. I really just realized that, okay, if I don't do something with the personality traits that I had or have, that this relationship will end, because how I can't live with myself being reactive or being in different ways. And it's been part of this last few months to really take myself serious, look myself square in the face and say, if you really want to be who you desire to be, you really need to work on it. And I think that's also why I'm doing this walk. It's just I have to manifest the things that that I strive to be as a person, as a human being, to be good at, I want to be a great friend, and sometimes I really felt like a horrible friend, and I would like to be a good brother and a good son. And sometimes I feel like I've let my family down so much because I'm not where I should be. And then again, with relationships, there's so much I want to give to others, and I feel like I've been unable to do that. And that's probably what saddens me the most. There's so much I would like to give, but the foundation for it has just been a bit weak. So yeah, I just really just trying to manifest the good, I guess, or a better foundation and things.
So what is, like, when you're saying that you don't feel like you are the best brother or the best person that you could be, why do you think that? Because again, it sounds like your brothers and your family are very supportive of what you're doing.
Yeah, I've been used to not feeling good enough. I think that's been sort of one of the core things, and I think the only thing I can trace it back to is the religious part of my upbringing. When you're in a rigid way of thinking, which is about right or wrong, you are wrong a lot because you can never be perfect. So that means that you're always sort of condemned or whatever. And I think that because of my family, they saw things very black and white. I took that in, as a kid, and very easily started to wanting to live up to something, not feeling good enough often. And it's been with me for a while, and I'm just tired of it. So I think that's why I've had high ambitions too, and being perfectionist and all that stuff, and I think that's part of that as well. So yeah, I think I'm just really trying to look for the truth in me, look for the truth in the reality of things, and try to not hide from it.
Yeah.
Not hide the truth, or hide what's real, or hide what's important. So, and I think that's why a long walk is important. I think just really to be get used to that, practice being in that state. So yeah.
So what is important? Because that's obviously the stuff you want to try and chisel into.
Yeah, so when I did the first video, day 0, before I started the walk, I called it "Walking Toward a New Life," and the 3 things that I've sort of can circle. What do you say? Can see that as a foundation is that of course I would really like to experience or be in a relationship that makes sense. That where you can create a life together and share a life together, because what I've discovered is that when you share things with others, it becomes real. And that's why I think love is special, friendship, especially when you share experiences, it becomes real. It just, it's that's why we want to share things with each other. That's because that's where life happens. So that's sort of a really important thing that I would really like to experience. And then I would definitely like to have a base somewhere, a place that I really love to be. And maybe I can travel from and come back to, but definitely a place where I feel like, okay, this is home. This is where I live. This is where I like to be. And then do what I love. And if that's writing or creating or helping people or talking to people and adventure stuff, or I think the last part is definitely where I'm sort of more unclear about how exactly that's going to look. But I think this trip is part of establishing that as well somehow. But those three things are definitely the core things that I'm sort of in a subtle way in my mind looking for in terms of, okay, that's what I would like to happen,
But dude, let me tell you this, man. I think you live in the real world. I think pretty much, again, the vast majority of people, including people listening or watching this, are so tied into the grid. They are. I'm one of them. I spend hours every day on my phone looking up what everybody else is doing, talking to people like yourself, hearing some super interesting stories from time to time. And that is kind of like almost like the escape from that surreal matrix world that I think most of the world has become. Whereas you're out there, man, like you're out there, not necessarily being disconnected from it, but you get to experience, as you said, 5 to 8 hours every day, where you get to hear sounds of the birds singing and the oxes out there on the ox trail and all that. I think people need that. Myself included. Like, we just moved into a new house, and at the back here we got a lot of bushland. So the kids are now starting to ask to go for a walk. But when we go for a walk, we're still in suburbia. You're out there, man. Like, you are walking across Europe. Like, even just saying that sounds stupid. like you're walking 3,500 kilometers, which is like, even saying that sounds nuts. But that's what I mean. Like you are. I think you are in that extraordinary bracket of people.
Thank you.
But again, of course, you are there for, like, you're on your own journey, and obviously you got to find what you got to find. You got to find out, as your brother said, a way to sort of stand or walk for yourself, walk your own path, and be okay with that. And honestly, fuck what everybody else is saying. So even to a certain extent, like I said, fuck what your family thinks about it. Because you, as I said before about the whole mask that drops down at the airplane, you got to look after yourself before you can do any good or look after others. And dude, you're only 20%. If you've got another 3.5-4 months to go, man, you've got so much exploration to do, so many stamps to get, so many memories. I'm super excited. I'm super excited for you, and I'm sure whatever it is out there. And if you don't, for whatever reason, if you don't find it in the next couple of months or before you hit the 0.0 marker, then it's somewhere else. Just whatever you do, man, just don't stop looking.
I feel it too. I mean, I feel a strong fire and desire to just keep going and see what happens. And and be okay. I mean, I think today it's almost. I think tomorrow it's going to be 500 kilometers. I'll turn 500 tomorrow, I think.
Wow.
So then it's just
that's about 20%. Yeah.
So but yeah, Paris. I mean, Belgium is going to be early August. No, it's not true. Yeah, early August, and then I'm going to enter France, is what I'm trying to say, in early August, and then Belgium is going to be early August, and then I think it's going to be 10 days or 2 weeks before Paris, and then that's going to be a big deal. And I also think that's motivating in terms of, first it's Denmark, crossing the border into Germany, kind of exciting, new country, kind of new language, culture, food, new ways of doing things. And then you have 3 weeks or whatever, how long in there. And then Belgium, the waffles, can't wait to waffle it up there and for a week.
Man, don't just even you talking about it now makes me all jealous, man. I love all the European food. I'm stuck down here with the traditional pub food, like your steak sandwich and a chicken palmy. That's so exciting.
Of food. Yeah. And
then, don't take photos of food, man.
And then, but anyways, and I think it's a really nice motivating factor, sort of on the side, when it comes to the walk. That the different countries and different cultures, and I think France is obviously going to be the longest walk. I think that's going to be I don't even know. It's definitely going to be a month and a half, I think, before I reach Spain.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, but I know that's what's going to be so beautiful about ending in Spain, because I think I'm going to take the French Camino, the French way, where the one that most people take, because it's the most special one, and it's just going to be such a long, beautiful home stretch. I've been there before. I know it's easier in terms of accommodation, and I don't have to think too much about that. So I think it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful finish. Because it's just, I love it down there. So I miss it. That's why I think I'm heading that way.
Dude, you're like, you're there already. Like like you're going to finish this. Like how you're talking about it now. It's like you're visualizing it. Going down,
it's beautiful. I mean,
picking up that shell at the 0.0K marker.
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely when the thought when the thought comes in with standing there at the end because when you go out there, it's a lighthouse at the end. So you walk out there and it's not a trail anymore. So it's just kind of walk back and forth to that lighthouse. And when you're out there, it's just people, some pilgrims, they burn their clothing and they throw their shoes in the water, and because it's the end. It's the end. There's no more walking. But again, this is very early, and that's also why I'm like, okay, I need another couple of weeks, and I think Paris will sort of tie the knot of okay, I can finish now.
The halfway mark.
Yeah.
Dude.
So, yeah.
What's next? So let's assume. Because to me it sounds like you already got this sorted in your head, which is the hardest part. Where do you think the future might take you? Would you do something similar somewhere else, just for the sport of it? And again, let me also say this. I told you that last time as well. Dude, you need to write a book, man. You need to write a biography about yourself, because what you were talking about on the last podcast we did a couple of months ago was fucking insane. Like what you've done the last 10 years is people wouldn't do a fraction of that in a lifetime. And that again, that motivates people. And that's whether you believe in have a religion or not. It's so inspiring, man. And because again, it challenges people's belief of what's possible, even. Like doing silent retreats and, like living up on the mountainside in Spain for a couple of months, and like doing your retreat in India and New Zealand and stuff, and America, and doing the Camino twice and stuff. That's like stop. Like, where does this stop, man? Like and now you're doing this, which effectively is going to take you almost to the end of the year. So how do you top this?
Yeah, but I think that's maybe what I'm looking for, is as a foundation to live from, because I feel like this trip is the biggest adventure of my life. And I also know that because that other relationship ended, my thought process also was, if I should ever be able to do an adventure like this, do such a long walk, this is the time. This is the time for me. It's the time for, if I ever want a family, I won't go away for that long. It sort of culminates with things I love, long distance walking. It culminates with, philosophy or thinking, or, just practicing life every day, and so yes, a book will definitely make sense and something I would like to do, and I definitely would like to come out and speak more. I mean, I would like to inspire people if I can, or and yes, perhaps if it makes sense, then take some trips that are interesting, but I would probably prefer to do it with the love of my life, or someone to share it with. And of course, that'd be fun if I could do adventure trips with people, or sort of combine long distance walking with facilitating speaking to people or something like that, maybe.
Why don't you do some of that now? Like you're out there. I understand. Obviously, you're in people speaking German, and you go into France and stuff. I don't know if you speak those languages, but a lot of people would understand English. So I'm thinking out loud here. Maybe you could sort of book in some chats at some, I don't know, some different schools, high schools or something, I'm thinking like high schools would probably like a good spot, because, people, when they're young, they finish school, might be a bit restless. Maybe you could inspire someone to do something similar and go out and do a little bit of soul searching.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Good idea, definitely. I'm thinking
because you have all the content out there. Like you're posting daily. You're doing all your updates, like photos and stuff. So it'd be fairly easy for people to see and follow where you're at, because you obviously have the whole map, that shows you where you're going anyway. So you might be able to map something out, in a couple of days, a couple of weeks. So in Paris or something, again, I'm just thinking out loud here.
It's a great ideas. Yeah. I think it will be easier to think about that when I'm a bit further, because I definitely think that the foundation for the trip is not really there yet. I mean, 30 to 40 days, then I think I'm okay. Now I'm there. And then definitely I can think more about that stuff. And I also think it will do something good to begin to meet people. I mean, I know I have a few people that hopefully will come down to walk with me, and that can be part of that as well. And definitely, I mean, definitely good ideas in terms of if I have connection somewhere, or maybe they have somebody to come and talk and so on. I mean, yeah, good ideas, definitely.
But again, like before we sort of wrap it all up here, in regards to when you were talking earlier about you'd like to maybe potentially be coaching people or sort of sharing good ideas, or sort of sharing experiences and stuff. Don't forget, you are doing that. You're doing that by doing this. And so in a way, it's kind of like a win-win. Again, you're doing this. You're doing this for yourself, as you mentioned. Like you need to do this to sort of have a bit of a, I don't know if you can call it a cleanse or a soul searching, but you're walking out there to embrace the unknown. And dude, that's super inspiring in itself. And I think that is why you're gaining these followers. You're getting more video views. You're getting more people sort of commenting and interacting with you. So you utilize that, because it's right there. Like you are doing it. Yeah. And
that's also why I think it's really important that the trip is long. I think it will show itself what the maybe the purpose is, or the result is, or the inspiration is, or whatever. I mean, it'll naturally come through the process, or the walk itself, so I definitely would like to continue what I'm doing right now. So
well, I will tell you something. You said you were 6 weeks away from Paris? It doesn't matter how far away you are.
Yeah, it must be around 6 weeks, I think.
When you hit Paris, you find somewhere with a good internet connection, and we'll do another chat.
Yes.
Because I need to, I need, like, not just me, everybody needs to hear this fucking ridiculous adventure, man. It's And again, and people should definitely check out your story as well. So please do name drop wherever people can go to be up to date, to be up to scratch.
Yes. So I think definitely YouTube is the best.
Yep.
I could probably post more pictures on Facebook and Instagram. Maybe I should do that more, pictures. But otherwise, I think YouTube is the best in terms of this journey, because I am documenting from start to finish in short. I mean, I'm trying to get around 5 to 6 minutes. It's a bit difficult, but that's the best way to just follow the journey, I think. So YouTube, it's /user or /C Gideon Nilsson, and otherwise just search my name, Gideon Nilsson, or Journey Navigator Gideon Nilsson. And then on Instagram, it's my first and last name. Yeah, it's Gideon Nilsson, Nielsen. And then with an extra N on Instagram, and then Gideon's Journey on Facebook. That's my personal profile, because I think it's better right now to just use that one. So
where did that Enok, where did you get that from? Because that's sort of your online name.
It's so my full name is Gideon Enok Nilsson, and I guess I just kind of dislike my last name because it comes from a family's belief about whatever, and I don't know. I would rather just Gideon Enok, but Enok is also a biblical name, actually. In the Bible, it's spelled CH, though, I think. Right. But it's one of the first names for people that you see in the first chapters, I think. But yeah, it kind of sounds like a Greenlandish kind of name, but I'm not from Greenland.
Why don't you change your profiles to that? Because that's much more unique than Nilsson. Like you have Nilssons everywhere.
I don't know. Can you change that to? Can you change that?
Absolutely, okay. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, maybe
as long as it's not taken. So anyone who's listening, this don't take the name. But absolutely. You can update both your Instagram. I'm pretty sure you can do it on YouTube as well. You can definitely do it on Facebook. So as long as it's not taken. So do that right now when we're done here.
Have a look.
Because again, just me thinking out loud. Again, if you don't like Nilsson, and again, Nilsson, like it's the same as Smith in England or Australia, then change it properly to Enok. Then it's also going to be the same on all your platforms.
True.
Again,
yes.
Just my thoughts.
Yes. No, I appreciate it.
Buddy, just before we round off, have you got, again, you probably know this because you've seen a couple of my other shows, but have you got any, and this is where your coaching comes out, have you got any sort of tips and tricks if anyone is sitting out there and wanting to do something crazy or think, wow, this guy's onto something, I might want to try and do the same? Have you got any advice to people out there? Not necessarily if they want to walk across Europe, but if they have something like an extraordinary dream or an extraordinary idea they would like to pursue.
I think it's just really important to listen to yourself. I mean, it's kind of a trivia, or what do you call it? It's what everybody says, standard response to listen to yourself first. But definitely don't do it for others. I mean, if walking is, I think walking is special because if you do walk more than 30 or 40 kilometers, you just get down to a depth in yourself that maybe you haven't been before, because it really is a long process of you being with yourself for a long time. And then do it without too many distractions in terms of music. And it's probably why I'm not listening too much music, because it's to me, it's just an impersonal process to stay present. But yeah, I mean, use your intuition, listen to what you want. I mean, what do you want out of life? It's so easy to be caught up in the circumstances of life, and especially even now, like it's even more crazy now. I mean, there's so much more fear in what can we do and what can we not do, and I refuse to. There was one writing me today. So if I was concerned about the corona, concerned about restrictions, or if I don't even think, because Europe is the way it is now, I don't even think I will be showing my passport to anybody, because it's open, you know. I mean, of course, if it just blows up again or locks down, whatever, it's going to be different. But I'm not going to live my life in fear. I don't think anything comes of that. So I think try to let go of, you know, what circumstances are telling you in terms of the system or people or friends, and just really listen to what you want to do. And initially, it's going to suck because you can only rely on yourself, because no one will probably help you or trust you or have confidence in you, because you need to build up that yourself before they can see that you're onto something. And honestly think that that's what I've been doing the last 9 or 10 years. And I only think I'm able to do this now because I have done everything else the last 9 or 10 years. That's why I'm capable of doing this now, because I feel such confidence in being homeless or being on the road, or I couldn't have done that without bummed around in Australia or, being all these different countries. And
I was about to name a country.
So, yeah, I mean, there's no one answer, but listen to your heart, listen to your intuition, and trust that even though it sucks while you are taking your steps on your path. Yeah.
Amazing, man. Dude, I'm sure you'll be just fine. Looks like you have a visitor or something. But honestly, man, let's organize a chat just for you to sort of keep moving. And again, I would encourage everybody who is listening out there or watching this back or whatever you're doing to go in and follow your journey on. And you just want to name drop it one more time, just so we get it again.
So I actually don't remember exactly the 100% the link for YouTube, but it's definitely /user/Gideon Nielsen, I think, or C/Gideon Nielsen.
You can actually take the user out and just write Gideon Nielsen.
Yeah, and then search my name or Journey Navigator, and I think YouTube is definitely the best place because it just shows most of what's happening. So,
yep, fantastic.
Yep.
Thanks so much, brother. It was as always. It was incredibly powerful, man, and super inspiring. So keep walking.
Thanks.
And
I will.
And I'll look forward to talking to you in Paris.
In Paris, yes.
Awesome.
Let's get that down.
All right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your afternoon, because it's afternoon where you are, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks. Sounds good.
All right.
You're my friend.
Thanks, bro. Thanks so much for tuning in or listening along to the show. If you like the show, please don't forget to leave a 5-star review and subscribe to my social channels. It doesn't cost you anything, but it greatly helps me to build my networks and my chances of getting sponsors to keep this show running. If you want to take it to the next level, please head over to patreon.com/Stephen Helhammer and become a patron by joining the exclusive community there. You can start from as little as $3 per month. And for just a little extra, you get access to some fantastic features, outtakes, behind the scenes stuff, and much, much more. That's less than the cost of a cup of coffee per month. And that way you can help me build better content. I can devote more time to find awesome guests and just generally just keep everything flowing. If you want to be on the show or subscribe to my mailing list, send an email to steven@helhammer.com, and that is HELhammer.com. That way I can start sending you exclusive invites, random stuff, and messages that, who knows, you might enjoy. So that's it. Have a rocking day ahead, guys, and I will see you on the live stream or in your headphones very soon. Take it easy.